Thank you for joining us today on 344 Live, where we support sellers and job seekers. Please take a moment to support Jenna Saxon's job search today. She's a writer, an editor, and a brand builder with deep experience with well-known corporate projects. Perhaps your personal brand could use some major brand influence. And welcome to the 344 Live on Monday, March 6th, where it is my second son's 21st birthday. So shortly after this, taking him out, right? And that's an exciting thing for me. Now, I've got Ross Cranwell here, who is the founder and CEO of Milk Video, and I've got a little story to tell, right? Because it was a year, maybe a couple years ago now.
It was a year ago, yeah.
And you had a sales action that was just awesome, right? I don't remember what it was. You sneaked in somehow and kind of backdoored it, and it was really effective, right? You cut through, and I got to say, man, I haven't looked back, right? I got hooked on Milk Video because it was really answering some challenges that I was having personally as a creator, and really opened up some ideas in terms of what I could do with content. So with that, looks like we do have a guest here, Amy Hrechovic. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today in the comments. So Ross, man, we don't have a lot of time, right? We've got just barely 16 minutes. So we're going to dive right into Milk Video, what it is, why you made it, who needs it, and all that good stuff. So let's start with that. Who's your customer, and what is the pain that they have? Not just silly old me out here, right? What's your customer suffering from?
Yeah, thanks a million for having me on the show. Absolutely delighted to share some of my experiences. And the message that I sent you was through LinkedIn, and I was asking you for feedback on Milk, and you were very kind to take some time to do that.
And I think I was skeptical at first. I don't know if I was very nice at first, but
no, you were very nice. You were very nice. You know, most people are pretty nice on LinkedIn. So, but you were very receptive. So I appreciate that. As a startup founder, it's always nice to get feedback one way or another.
Sure.
So our target market is predominantly B2B marketers and creators. So anyone who kind of is working in the content space and looking to put out content for their B2B audience. Predominantly, we're focused on video, and really the challenge that a lot of marketers have is they're doing a million different jobs, from SEO to events to demand to advertising, and video editing is very complicated. And like with Milk, they can take a long form video and turn it into video shorts to distribute predominantly on LinkedIn for their audience within a couple of minutes. If they didn't have us, they have to spend a ton of time transcribing the video, then they have to go into another tool to do subtitles, and they have to get their brand kit, and they have to get a designer to do it, or they outsource it, that they share the timestamps, that takes ages to kind of coordinate with somebody, or they have someone internally, but the person internally is more focused on more high-end design work. So we kind of fit in the middle, where it's like do it yourself, and very much focused on how can you get these shorts out or repurpose your content, your webinars, your podcasts really fast, so you can get back to telling the story about your brand.
All the other stuff that you have to do all day long, man. And today, man, I have just literally been racing. Like I finished up our introduction here, like I don't know, it was about 2 minutes before you jumped on. So, I mean, seriously, like running just constantly right at that edge. So, so you're saving time for these B2B marketers who've got long form content. They need to repurpose it. They know they need to repurpose it. That's just like a monkey on their back. And here we go. All right. So how did this come about? I mean, it's not an old product. It hasn't been around forever. And when I look at your LinkedIn background, I don't see like massive video dude, right? Like, so how did you get here?
Yeah, so my background's in when I was before this, I was in China, in Shanghai, working in B2C marketing there for 9 years, and then came to New York. But I'm obviously not a New Yorker. I'm from Dublin myself, but always working in different ways to obviously create content, get in front of your audience. In the B2C world, there's a million different ways you can get in front of your audience. B2B is a little bit more limited. And one area that I saw was really doing very well were events, and then virtual events, where both the marketing team could bring in leads and then the sales team could also close those leads. but it was really hard from a demand gen perspective to take that content and then repurpose that into all the different amazing things that you could do. So testimonials, video shorts, advertising, all these different opportunities within this long form content that was just sitting there, and you couldn't milk it. And so hence the name Milk Video, to be able to milk and extract the value. So,
nice. There's I'm glad you told that story, because it's like you need to, I get it now. It always felt a little random. Like, okay, so I got to tell you, so the 344 has that story, right? 3 minutes and 44 seconds is the amount of time that my viewers spent watching the Hotness Unleasher show, which was my first show, and I wanted to do something with that. So why not start it at 3:44 p.m. Pacific time and call it good, right? I mean, we got to do something. We got to come up with names somehow. Milk Video. I love it. Yeah. That is great. Okay, so I know how I use the solution, right? Which is kind of a little bit out in outer space, right? I have my own application, which is I go out and I record stuff, podcasts, because I can't spend an hour with them, right? And they're a mono channel, productions, just voice. And so I'll stick it into Milk and record that sucker, put it into text, and then I have it, right? And then I can use it. I can do all kinds of stuff, cut it up, and it's extremely valuable to me. Yeah. Okay. So can you show off what I get that's a weird use case, right? So, so can you show it off for us? I mean, we've got it queued up. Can you show us a few screens here? Awesome. Okay.
Yes, I can indeed.
There we go. Gonna get you live, man. Okay, you're driving.
Super. Okay. Okay. So basically, if you take a webinar, a podcast, a Zoom meeting, anything like that, any kind of type of recording, and you drop it into Milk, it's instantly transcribed. So we've already uploaded this recording here, and then it just transcribes it, and our transcription is really solid. You can spot it there, like everything is done really well. A lot of other transcription tools you end up doing a lot of correction, but this is about 96-97% correct. But if you do need to make an edit, you just quickly kind of change it there. And that updates the transcription and also the related captions. So from a marketing perspective, you're going, great, I just had this webinar, it's fantastic content, it's with a client. So I want to showcase that on LinkedIn or on a website or to our sales team. So you kind of maybe go through the transcript, or you look through the key chapters. You're like, great, this is a section about co-founders and picking co-founders, fantastic. I want to turn that into a piece of content. And so it just highlights that, and then you just turn that into a clip. And then instantly on the left here, this clip is then generated and the captions are automatically added. And you just drop that into a template of your brand. And obviously these are some of our templates. And so instantly you have the video here, and then the text, and then the automated captions. So within a couple of minutes, you'll have a captioned recording that's on brand, right? So making sure that it's on brand, the font is on brand, the colors are on brand. That's a key thing that the brand team, the design team wants to have.
Yeah, they love that stuff. They got
exactly. I think you're probably wondering.
And then the captions are all
I'm talking about what you should look for in co-founder.
All really high quality and just ready to go. And so from a content marketer, growth marketer perspective, you're like, cool, I've chosen a story I want to tell that I know will bring in the maybe our target account or whatever, and then they can just export that out and share that. On LinkedIn is our most common kind of use case.
Yeah. So the thing that I love, and you can kind of go back to this maybe, but I want to emphasize how awesome it is to be able to select by the word where you're going to do your clip, right? Like, because that is a massive pain in the Batinsky. I'm telling you, man, it is difficult to go and find that word in a regular standard video editing tool, right? It's just like, and especially if it's an hour long, you got a keyword in there, you've got your transcription, search for it, find it, clip it, go. I love it. This is why I love this product. I just think it's genius, and I'm going to stick around as long as you'll have me.
Because
it works.
The yeah, there's a lot of video editing tools out there, and they, this video doesn't change much. It's just his face all
Yeah.
throughout. So how do you
Right.
kind of find that key moment, that timestamp? So this is a much easier way to do it.
Yeah.
And then,
Perfect.
and then how do you kind of line those up from it? This is all built from a demand perspective. There's lots of video editing tools out in the space, but our view is like, how can you extract as much value? So we want you to create as many clips, as possible to to feed your content machine or your sales team for the remainder of the month or the quarter, whatever it may be. So don't skip. If you do a long 1 hour recording, which is our most common kind of time range, make sure you double down and like to go deep into it. Don't move on to your next project. Double down, repurpose it, pull out a quote, even a text quote or a video quote, and then see your visibility increase.
Well, and then at 1 minute or less, you can, you upload it to YouTube and it's automatically a short, right? And you're good to go there. And that, that is a viable channel for actually getting some exposure. So why not?
There's lots of like very simple ones. Lots of people upload to YouTube and such. Those are very common. But then LinkedIn is obviously where most people get them in the B2B space, get the most traction.
Totally.
And I do agree with like doubling down on that. You can put it on other platforms, but LinkedIn is where people can see the most results. And if the content marketer has carefully thought about what section will resonate, then it can really blow up. Yeah.
That's just, man, I love it. I'm just thank you so much for bringing that out today. So I want to ask, like, you said like there's a ton of other video creator tools out there, right? You can clip based on the word. That's awesome. It's all templated. It's really fast. You're good to go. Now, can you distribute automatically to all your various channels from the tool itself?
We don't have that right now. What we kind of focus on is just getting the raw material yourself, so you can download the video and then you can distribute it. That's what we see kind of is the most kind of common use case. You can share a link and all that kind of stuff, but most people just download it and then manipulate. Maybe sometimes they take it off and they do some additional kind of fancy stuff to it. But generally speaking, the key is get it out quickly and see the results. Because if people get stuck on the editing thing, they just waste their time and then they eventually give up because it's not perfect. But we want people to get out and get stuff out, be agile, get results, and move fast.
I love it. Okay, so you've had some clients, you've been around for a little while, right? You're out in the B2B space. What are they seeing? Are you seeing content proliferating? Is that, are they getting the kind of outcomes that they're looking for? They're getting ROI on this stuff?
Yeah. So they're looking, a lot of them are kind of going after target accounts. They're looking for visibility. They're looking for just that kind of constant top of mind. If LinkedIn is the primary channel, like what are you going to be putting out there every single week? You know yourself, the challenge of that. Yeah. So if you do have recent content or someone just records it in-house, whatever, something short, then you can put that out. But what's going to be another blocker is the captions and the brand kit. And so don't let that be a blocker. Just kind of put it out there. So we see that it drives a lot of, like for webinars, for example, or podcasts, it will drive a lot of awareness. And it's another excuse for the creator, like in your instance, after this recording, you can take it and remind people about the first section, the second section, the third section, and you're just like top of mind. Otherwise, this recording just sits in your Google Drive and no one will ever hear about it again.
It sits wherever it's going to sit. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So how do I get it? If I'm a B2B company, right? How do I get a hold of this thing?
Yeah. So basically to set up a demo with me as a marketer, I talk the same kind of language. So it's very much like trying to work out if it's going to be of value to the customer. So they can just request a demo on the site and then grab a virtual coffee with me, and I just walk you through how we can take your recordings, or you can also create recordings through the app as well. I didn't show that part, cool. But you can send a link to customers and source testimonials. So that's another, even if you don't have material, it's another way, because we found that some companies don't always have existing content. And set up a demo and see if anything you'll learn from me some tips and tricks around the space.
All right, I love it. And one of the things too that I see here is that there's a lot of, so I said this somewhere, a comment somewhere. It was like, look, software as a service doesn't make it a service, right? Just because you sell it that way, right? It needs to actually do something. And that's the thing. That's the difference. Like, I don't want just a sharp shovel where I got to go out and use the shovel myself, right? I want a shovel that actually digs itself, right? You dig that hole for me. And that's what I see. It's what I love about your product, man. I mean, I do the thing and then, you know, make the original thing. And then it's like, oh, button. Now I've got all this new content. It's great. It's like, why wouldn't you want that? All right.
Yeah. Okay. It's very much for people who have that mindset of, like yourself, like that growth mindset of like, okay, I have this thing, like, what are these other things that I could do with it? And we're very much of the mindset of not even just video, like, hey, you know, turn this into transcript, like we are doing some things around turning it into like blog pieces, sales emails, repurposing. There's a lot of stuff on LinkedIn about people doing repurposing, all these ways to do it, but it's like, how time consuming is that? So how can we reduce that?
I love it. Okay, so speaking of time, we are at time, right? Which means we have time for our 1 minute tip of the day. So I'm going to say, let's go. You're going to give me the tip, and then I'm going to say, we're going to take that to the bank. All right. So you ready?
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Deep breath. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. If you are going to create content, all you got to worry about is like finding a really interesting point of view. Doesn't matter how long it is. If it's 1 minute, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, as long as there's something that is going to pique the interest or showcase kind of your product, whatever it is. Don't worry so much about time. And really just the key thing is getting it out in the audience, getting it out and testing it and getting some feedback and then iterating on it. So yeah, a lot of people ask us about timing, like how long should this be? It doesn't really matter. It's like, is there something really interesting in there that people can learn something from, some value that you can add to their day.
Awesome. All right. So you got an idea, record it. Don't worry about how long it is. Wrap it up and ship it, baby. All right. We're going to take that to the bank. All right. Thank you, Ross, so much for coming out to the 344 Live today. I'm actually going to be in New York City on Thursday. And so I won't see you probably because that's a big city, man. But I'll wait. I'm like, hey, Ross is out here somewhere. All right, buddy. All right. With that, we're gonna do the count up timer and we are going to call this an episode. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us in the comments. Nathan and Dean and Amber. And okay, we got everybody. All right. And Amy, sorry, and Melissa too. Oh gosh, we got a great. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. We'll talk soon.